Let me ask something. Do you have a problem with feminine men?
No, ma'am.
You didn't make fun of him?
No, ma'am, not at any time. I did not.
Ma'am, when he said the statement to me that I needed to put a little bit more salt in my sugar, he was laughing, and so were the people in the office, and I hung up the phone.
Mr. Hester, you're here suing Mr. Winningham for failure to honor a 90-day warranty on a repair he made to your car. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you want $946.19.
Yes.
And Mr. Winningham, you're saying that the warranty did not apply to this particular problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me about how you got your car repaired initially by him and when
Well,
this
Judge
happened.
Lopez, back in April, I had some car repairs done to my car. I had a cracked cylinder head,
What kind of car do you have?
a Chevy Beretta,
What year?
88.
Mr. Winningham, do you agree that he brought a 1988 Chevy Beretta to you to be repaired in April of 2006?
Yes, ma'am, he did bring it.
You agree with that?
Right, yes.
Okay. And tell me what was wrong with the car when you brought it in.
I was told that I had a cracked cylinder head and I needed a head gasket. So I went on and let him repair the car. I had to pay a deposit of $140. I also had a 90-day warranty on all parts and labor, and it also says void if ran hot. 70 days later, June 22nd, I was on my way to a patient's house. I do home health care. My car started jerking, but my hot and cold hand never did go up on hot.
When he brought the car to you, was there a problem with the fan?
We got that issue solved, and you know, we checked everything out on the car as we were doing the rest of the work on it. And I explained to him when he picked the car up that he had a responsibility to keep his eye on everything and make sure. He'd already run it hot one time and blowed the head gasket.
Yep.
You know, so make sure that you check everything.
Okay. Is that right? Is that what happened?
Yes, and I also have a written statement from him where he's telling me that he's not going to fix my car because I didn't have any antifreeze in my water.
Oh, let
All
me
I
see
had
that.
was
Let me
water.
see that.
And I feel like if he put plenty of antifreeze in there in the beginning when it was supposedly fixed, that the antifreeze wouldn't have ran out and cracked the head again.
Let me just tell you something. It looks right here. I mean, he put in antifreeze.
Yes,
2
ma'am.
months earlier, you put in antifreeze, okay? And then a little over 2 months later, you tell him this car broke down because he didn't have antifreeze.
Right, it had pure water in it. The antifreeze was completely gone.
How often do you have to put in antifreeze?
Well, you shouldn't have to add any. Well, let me explain
You
to you.
shouldn't have. That's
Right.
exactly the point I was going to
All right.
try and
All right,
make.
let me explain.
So once you put the antifreeze in, he should have been antifreeze, no need for antifreeze for another, what, year?
Well, unless something else happens.
Unless something else happened. When you went to his shop, I mean, did they treat you well?
I mean, when I first went to the shop the first time, I had a friend with me, and they were giving us like different eye gestures, like maybe they were kind of prejudiced against my sexuality and against my friend because she was like colored and this was a white-owned business.
Is that true? Were you
ma'am.
prejudiced against him?
No, ma'am. I knew nothing about him whatsoever.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, actually, the reason why I went back and said the way they were acting when I first took my car to them is because on June the 26th, on a Monday, when I called to ask them about why haven't they called me about my car and said anything, you know, were they going to repair it or what, he told me that they were too busy and that he had to go to a funeral or something. And so I told him that, you know, my car is my means of transportation for work.
Right.
I go from house to house. I'm missing work because of this. And he proceeded on to tell me that I need to put a little bit more salt in my sugar before I call and ask him anything about my car.
Let me ask something. Do you have a problem with feminine men?
No, ma'am.
You didn't make fun of him?
No, ma'am. Not at any time. I did not.
Ma'am, when he said the statement to me that I needed to put a little bit more salt in my sugar, he was laughing, and so were the people in the office, and I hung up the phone.
Okay, you were making fun of
No,
him.
ma'am,
okay?
I was not.
I think that that car was in your shop within the 90-day warranty. Something goes wrong with it, and I see from your receipt that you put in a used head gasket, and you put in the antifreeze. So there's only a couple of things that I think could have possibly gone wrong. One is the head gasket that you put in was defective.
Thank you.
Okay, that's covered under parts. Or maybe you didn't put in the antifreeze, and then that's your fault too. He is asking for $946.19 in damages, and I'm going to award it to him. Judgment for plaintiff, $946.
Thank you, Your Honor.